everybody. Welcome. It's Elevating Your Lifetime with Paula Vail. And today I am going to feature a fascinating multi-book best-selling author. She is so amazing. We have with us today Emily A. Francis. She is a highly sought-after speaker, best-selling author, and wellness expert with an array of education and experience spanning over 20 years. Her knowledge of the body, as well as the body-mind connection, is extensive, and her commitment to total body, mind, and spirit wellness is her driving force. She is the host of the internet radio show All About Healing on Healthy Life Radio, and the author of multiple books. First off, we'll talk about Healing Ourselves Whole. I enjoyed so much. First off, I want to say welcome, Emily.
Thank you, Paula. I'm so happy to be here.
Yay, I love it. I love it. Well, tell us more of your background and, share, what you have in this book and your others. I'm just excited to hear more, Emily.
I'll give you the elevator pitch. So my bachelor's of science degree right out of college was exercise science and wellness. I was a collegiate cheerleader, and I've always loved the muscles. Always. And that was in the 90s. Let's just say that. And then some years later, I went to massage school and did clinical neuromuscular massage therapy. And then I did a specialized training called the Vodder School North America for manual lymphatic drainage and combined decongestive therapy, working post-cancer with people that have a chronic swelling condition called lymphedema. And then I've been doing that now for close to 20 years. And then I went back to college on top of that and got my master's degree in human performance. So I have studied, and I've been an aerobic director, martial arts, yoga, kickboxing. I love the muscles in a way that is not your average muscle lover. Like, I don't just love the look of muscles, but I love to dialogue with the muscles. So when I went to massage school, I realized, in fact, I'll tell you this, I went to an angel reading, if I may, and I was a high school health and PE teacher at the time. And I just knew it wasn't not where I was supposed to be. And so you were allowed to ask this person one question. And I said, I am lost and I don't know what to do with my life. And she just started laughing. She goes, your gift is your hands. Go to massage school. And I was like, okay. And I literally, in a week, signed up for massage school, broke the lease to my apartment, moved back home with my mother so I could go full time to school, and changed my life. And I became truly a very different person from the experience of massage. And what I found was, as much as I have always loved the muscles, putting my hands on the muscles is a whole different game. And the communication that I am able to have with a person's body is outrageous, honestly. The muscles speak. The muscles have their own dialogue, and they have been waiting for somebody. And it's not just me, it's other clinically trained, really deeply trained body workers to follow the messages, because your body is constantly speaking. It's just that your body doesn't dialogue the way that we think about our mind. And we've put so much effort into learning the mental things that we have really left our body behind. And the wisdom of the body is something that is so crucial for everyone to understand, because your body is constantly communicating, and we have to learn how to listen to those messages. And it's an internal speaking. It's a deep wisdom. And that's what I'm here to do and to share. So I wrote I actually have more books. I have a book called Stretch Therapy, which was really for basic stretching. It was, I actually self-published them. They were two. And one was for how I'm 4'11". How am I stretching these big men and not killing myself? So I had like a basic stretch therapy book for the client, and then a how to stretch for the massage therapist. How do you use your body well? And then years later, I went to New York to the book expo, and a publisher contacted me and said, what do you say we put those two books together and publish it? So Stretch Therapy became my first professionally published book. And it's beautiful, by the way. It's all color, really helpful, but also super basic, because people get lost in wanting to teach yoga and all these really hard moves. But what about your basics? If you, and that's what I'm good at. So I remember when I came out with stretch therapy, all of my models in the book are massage therapists. And one of them looked at the book and I could see him like this. And I go, "You're thinking, dang, I could have done that." He goes, "That's what I was thinking." And I said, "Yes, but you didn't." Nobody did. Everybody skipped the basics. Everybody wanted to get their name out there so big and grand that we left the really simple things behind. So I wrote that book for everybody.
Yes.
And then several years later, I came out with The Body Heals Itself, how deeper awareness of your muscles and their emotional connection can help you heal, because your muscle groups store various emotions. So when
What?
people would come, yes.
Really?
Yes. So when people come to get a massage and because nobody comes to me to relax. Let me just say that. I don't do it. It's not what I'm there for. They come to me because something has happened. Either they need a spiritual shift, they have injured something, or they have lymphedema, which is a different deal. But when people start to talk about the same areas hurting, I started realizing that the emotions gather in different areas. And they do work similarly with the Chinese meridian channels and with the Indian chakras. But what I've noticed is the muscles are slightly different. And so like behind the shoulder blades, so many people over the years have talked about how their shoulder blade, there's just always something. Guess what that is? Betrayal. Betrayal. The stab in the back, that's where it sits. And you have to think, and even this is different. Your dominant hand, which most people are right. So let's say this, your dominant hand usually holds the stab in the back that you were a part of. The non-dominant hand, or usually on the left side, is things that happen without your control. Your parents divorcing, somebody dying, things happening where you are not the exact main character. It happened to you, literally to you. The right a lot of times is betrayal, like you were cheated on by a significant other, you were cheated on by a friend, you were betrayed, people were lying, you missed it, you missed the signs. They're in that space. So you can do physical all day long, but until you treat that energy body and that emotion space, it's always going to come back. So why does something hurt and then you go to your massage therapist and you feel great and 3 days later it hurts again? That's when you have to trace deeper and go, okay, this is not physical. So that's what I wrote about, was all the different parts of your body and what's sitting there.
Yes. So when we have the stab in the back, what can be a first step in getting rid of that? I mean, is it like letting go of the hurt of what you have going on in your life, or?
It is, but it's so much deeper than that, because it's the more I think about this, awareness is your bridge to everything. Awareness is your bridge to acceptance, truly. But we are not necessarily aware. And I'll tell you what I mean. I really realized this one night. I was working at this premier resort where all the celebrities like to come down from New York. And there was this woman, and she said, "Listen, I have gone to everybody in the world. I've got this huge pain behind my right shoulder blade. I've gone to chiropractors, physical therapists, physiotherapists, massage, you name it. Nobody can get it better, but go." And to me, it was like this challenge. And I worked at it like a beast. I was sweating. I've got her hand behind her back. I've got my elbow under it. I'm doing insane things. This woman's in her mid 60s easily, if not early 70s. But I wasn't hurting her when I say the elbow thing. I know my pressure. But I finally stopped and I said, "I'm sorry, this is not physical." And I said, "Would it be okay if I tried Reiki with you?" And she was like, "Oh, I've heard about it. I've heard about it." And I'm a Usui and Kuruniki Reiki master practitioner. And so I was like, "Okay, I'm going to put your hand behind your back," which I never do. Reiki usually relaxed, right? But something in me said, make her uncomfortable. So I had her hand behind her back like a chicken wing, and I placed both of my hands over that area. And then I did all my prayers and all my stuff. And then I said, "Don't think about it. What's the first thing that came to your mind?" And she went, "My high school sweetheart cheated with my best friend." And she looked at me, she goes, "What? I don't care. I've been married for 50 years. I don't care about that. Why would I think about that?" And I'm not kidding you. It was not a chiropractic. It was not a bone. It was an audible, energetic pop out of her body. And it was like, and it was gone, just gone. And if of all the years of doing different things, no better explanation than that one. Because it's not things that you're thinking. And that's the other thing. And that is the reason I wrote Healing Ourselves Whole, actually, is because the secrets that your body has been holding might have happened 40, 50, 60, 10, 2 years ago. And
Wow.
the story that you have in your head of why you suffer or why this part of your body is speaking up may not have anything to do with the story that your body is holding. So we have to learn how to go inside our body and go, hey, soft tissues, muscle memory, what is it you want me to know? If I stop talking and I sit with you, do you have a different story? And I promise you, it does.
Wow. Wow. Oh, so, connecting to that and getting that message from our body, that's got to be huge.
It's huge. And in my opinion, it's the thing that's been missing. And here's why, in my opinion. Not enough body workers are writing books. Not enough body workers have degrees that people will actually listen. Not enough people are, honestly, my director of exercise physiology, because I went to the same university for undergrad and for graduate studies, and my director of exercise physiology became the dean of the College of Education. And that's how I could do my master's degree. And then by the end of the master's, he had retired. But I went to him. We still are very much in touch. I love him so much. And I went to him and I said, there's nobody out there doing this work. And I want to be in the lab. I want to prove it so people understand that muscle memory is so emotional. Stop thinking of it only for movement and think about it for the suitcase of trauma and joy, both the good and the really hard. And he said, Emily, I will come out of retirement. I will get you the university. We will apply for a grant. We did everything and we applied and we didn't get the grant. And it was really devastating to me
Yes.
because to have a university back you, the kinesiology department and the director of the kinesiology, and then my director who has a doctorate in exercise physiology, I could not have come with a better team. I could not have. So to not get the scholarship, now understanding that we should be applying to other places and we haven't, but I still know what I'm talking about. It doesn't actually take me being in the lab to prove it. I've proved it because I've been doing this work for 20 years and studying it for 25.
Yes.
And so the muscles, when I say I love the muscles, I love them so deeply, so intricately, and in a unique way, but I work with them and they speak to me. And the body, it's kind of like I talk about the betrayal. Low back holds financial fears, fears of moving forward. People are terrified after they lose someone to move on with their life. Where do they hurt? Their low back. Why? Because the muscle across from the low back on the front, the psoas, PSOAS, your primary hip flexor, is your most vulnerable and sensitive muscle in the body. And it goes back and forth with the low back. So when your psoas acts up, or if there's any sexual trauma, God forbid, then the low back and the psoas, they play together. So very few people can do the clinical manipulation of that muscle to release it. And nowadays, they've even removed it from massage schools, just assuming that massage therapists aren't good enough at anatomy to do the work. And guess who's doing the work? No one.
Oh, wow.
So
No.
few schools still teach it. So the most that you do
Yes.
is like, and I learned it. So I still go in because I know my training and I'm not leaving it just because people have changed their mind. But the most you can do now is like stretch them and have this dialogue. And that's not enough. Stretching is fabulous, but not if you want to have a discussion with the muscles. Stretching is for having a release time with the muscles. It's going on a picnic with your muscles. It's a wonderful thing to do, but it's not a dialogue. The dialogue is the hands, whether that's Reiki, whether that's healing touch, whether that's therapeutic touch, whether it's, there's so many things. And if I can plug myself again, because that's what we're doing, there's a middle book in between these two. So in between the body heals itself on the muscles and healing ourselves whole, learning how to dialogue, there's a middle book called Whole Body Healing. And it came out during COVID, which was a shame because it didn't get the love that it needed. But Whole Body Healing is your resource manual. So when I talk about all these different healing modalities, they're in there. So it's 4 sections: your physical body, your emotional body, your energy body, which is not the same as emotional. People have got to know that, and the spiritual body. And under each of those is totally different practitioners, totally different. And so if it's, you need to learn what is it that's acting up? Is it physical? Because if it is, great. Here's a list of all the people you can go to. Is it emotional? Now you're talking psychology. You're talking psychiatry, psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, EMDR. That's a whole different game. But if you don't know it, then you don't know it. Energy body, Reiki, pranic healing, yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong. There's the journey dance, Swahili, Nia, NIA, Swahili for movement with purpose. It's movements. It's things that work with the subtle body and then your spiritual body. And that's really up to you. That could be church. It could be as far away from church as you want and anything in between. But this book, Whole Body Healing, is your charts, I've done the research so that you don't have to, so you can figure out what's out there in the world. And I did it because I worked at that same spa, which I wasn't there very long. But I remember I started with a woman, she was face down, and I touched her feet, and she had these 2 hardened nodules in the same place on both feet, on the main tendon. Okay, so on the myofascial tendon that goes from the big toe to the heel. And I put my hands there and I said, okay, what do we have here? And she goes, oh, I don't know. They're fallen tendons. And I was like, okay. So I keep massaging, and in my head, I'm like, fallen tendons? Wait a minute. A tendon connects a muscle to the bone. So how does it fall? And in only one place in the middle, this doesn't make any sense. So I was like, listen, I'm not trying to bother you. I know you're getting a massage, but did you get that diagnosed, fallen tendons? Who diagnosed that? Did you see a podiatrist? And she goes, what's a podiatrist?
Oh,
A podiatrist is a foot doctor, for anyone who's listening who doesn't know that. So she went to her general practitioner and he did I don't know, it's probably this. And she took it as a valuable diagnosis and left it. That's what it is. Like somebody like me, I would want to know how that started. How do you treat it? Who do you go to? I want to know everything.
yes.
And so when I said that to her, please, when you go home, please make an appointment with a podiatrist and get this properly diagnosed so that you may get it treated. And she looked at me and she goes, oh, now you make me feel dumb. And I was like, I'm not trying to make you feel dumb at all. I'm trying to help you get some relief. Why would you walk around with this with no help? Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So that was the whole thing, is you can't figure out what's going on if you're sitting in the wrong circus tent. You know, you're trying to go see a show and you're sitting in somebody else's tent, but go to somebody that has spent their life studying this one area. And I've spent my life studying your muscles. Outside of the muscles, I know not of what I talk about. So don't ask me. But if it's muscles, I am so in, or the body or the different areas, you know. But I think that's really important information. And I wish more people had it. I think this should be on every counter of every chiropractic office, physical therapy office, massage school, yoga place. I mean, this isn't, hey, you should do this. I hate the word should. And it's not that. It's, hey, here's your options if you're looking for this. Have you ever heard of this? And here's how you might want to go about finding someone who's well-trained, because not enough people ask for credentials, and that's dangerous.
Yes, yes. And the fact that we can be aware of, you know, this is something going on, and here are some ways to find out and to help ourselves.
Because you know what? A proper diagnosis is your starting point.
Yes.
It's not your end point. It's your beginning. But think about the people that have Lyme disease that constantly get a false negative for years, when they know that they're not getting the right diagnosis, and they keep pressing and they keep asking, but they keep asking the same place and the same players. So you have to learn, like, I should go to this integrative medical practice and ask them. I should get these particular functional tests done. But it's up to you to be your best advocate. But if you don't know where you are in that space, I'm trying to help guide you without guiding you and saying, here's your path. Instead, I'm saying, here's your opportunities. Now create your path.
Yes. Yes. So if you're experiencing the pain, we can now know that this is not just physical. This can be related to emotions.
Yes.
That amazes me.
You know, my naturopath, he calls them, actually, I'm not sure that he calls them that or I do, but we call them pain pockets. he calls them emotion pockets. I call them pain pockets. So when you work on a person and you find a place that has pain, the natural reaction is to store it someplace else in your body. They wiggle on the table, they shove it. I call it the apothecary method. They're putting it in a different drawer and hoping you don't go looking. A really well-trained therapist sees exactly where they put it and they go. This is not the same as trigger point therapy. So trigger point therapy is something called referring pain, where you put ischemic pressure, just pressure, whatever that is. You push down on one part of the body, but they feel pain in another place. That's what's called a trigger point. But I'm not necessarily talking about trigger points. I'm talking about the way people like to hide it away from the person that's looking for it and shove it into another part of their body, not to have the line released, but instead to have it go away. Like, I don't want you to find me. And so I have to, as my work is follow with the energy, with my eyes. I have to watch the way they move their body and where they're trying to shove it in. And then I got to go there, and chase it down, because we don't like to be discovered. The pain is like, oh, no, thank you. You know what? I've gotten really comfortable here. And the saddest part, and I'm a victim of this, and this is why I can speak about it so strongly. When you finally release some of those things that you've lived with for so long, the naked, raw vulnerability is so outrageous that we pull it back in because we don't know how to live without it anymore. So as much as we want to let go, let's say it's anxiety or depression or whatever it is, it becomes a frenemy that lives so deeply within us that we don't know how to operate our life not having that. So in the latest book, in my Healing Ourselves Whole, we do meditations. And then we eat right when you remove that space. I call it a carrot. It's been planted into the soft tissues. A psychologist calls it a trauma capsule. So something that's too overwhelming to handle, the mind shoves it in a capsule, drops it into the body, and walks away. That's actually like neuroscience. You can look it up, trauma capsule. But my work is to pick up the capsule that has opened and planted itself into the soft tissue bedding, into the muscle memory, into the fascia, into the body. So now we pick up that trauma capsule. I call it a carrot, and we start from there. That's our starting point. So when we do remove a carrot in the meditation, we immediately fill it with something equally as weighty. So I do a hot liquid into that space, but it feels as heavy so that you can, and then it releases healing all through instead of pulling from you. And that's the meditation idea in this work. So that, but you're not feeling naked and raw because it's not an exposed open wound. It's been filled, and it's been filled immediately. So you remove and you replace. And that's what I call it, remove and replace method. Is so that you can feel, so you can deal with it and not feel naked.
So these emotions, this stored trauma, it's like it then plants a carrot.
It plants a carrot and grows
in
poison.
Your body.
And it grows and it grows and it grows. So some people, like, I remember there's a Dr. John Upledger, who's one of my favorite. I took the Upledger craniosacral therapy, but only level 1 and 2. So I am not an expert by no stretch. But one of the things he talks about is that the fascia that encases the muscles holds the emotions. And he was working on an Olympic diver who had a shoulder injury. But when he followed the pathway of the fascia, it was actually wrapped around their knee. So he had to unwind the fascia and the energy around their knee to finally release the shoulder. So where you're feeling the pain may not be where the pain was originally designed. So where it was planted and where the roots grow aren't in the same place. So you have to know how to follow. But that's why, but this latest book, Healing Ourselves Whole, I give you that power to learn how to do that for yourself. You shouldn't have to go see a million people for your healing and to understand what your body is saying. So I did everything I could to give the power back to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Emily. This is just so fascinating. Oh my gosh. Oh, you are so awesome.
Thank you.
And before we go, will you share your information with everyone?
Yes, you can go to my website, healingourselveswhole.com. healingourselveswhole.com has all my books, has my information, has some videos. And it also has all of my audio meditations from the book. So you can go through and get those for free and the journals for free and just listen to them. And the producer that did the music for the audio meditations is went to hypnotherapy school, and he's a music producer. So the music is just really, he's a steel guitar player in a very well-known band in the South of America, not South America, the southern part of the United States. But his name is Mark Van Allen. He's a really well-respected musician, and he did the audio with me. And then the book, Healing Ourselves Whole, is now available on audio completely. So you can order the audio version, or you can go to my website and you'll hear me. The other one is a narrator. Her name is Stina Nielsen. She's awesome. But go to Healing Ourselves Whole, go download some of those meditations, see if they resonate with you. And if they do, then get the whole book so that you can really take yourself into that space and let yourself have your own power over your body. Because it's time. It's time.
Oh, what a powerful message, Emily. Wow, this is just amazing.
Oh, and can I say just one more thing? The power over your body has nothing to do with what it looks like. Can I say that a million times? What I'm trying to do and empower and offer is not about what you look like, what you weigh, what the shape is. I'm talking about the muscles, the deeply held inside emotions within you. That's the power over your body I'm helping you get to. The rest will take care of itself.
Oh my gosh. This is so amazing. We have about 2 minutes left. What lasts more do you want to share of this amazing information? Oh my gosh, you are amazing.
Miracle healings are everywhere. They are completely available. They are. You don't get to decide who gets to have the miracle. It's available. So miracle healings are possible, and you deserve to have yours. And the most that you can do is learn from anybody who's willing to teach it. And hopefully any of my work might resonate. And if you reach out to me, I will write you back and help you.
Oh, Emily, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, this is just so exciting to get this information and, bring some more understanding in our world of pain and what's happening. Oh my gosh.
And pleasure, though. There's a pleasure body in there. The second half of the book is about joy and happiness and how those same muscle memories store joy. So don't just look at the first half, get all the way through that book then.
Yep. And dive into that joy. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us today. Love, hugs, and blessings. Emily, thank you.
Thank you,
And I look
Paula.
forward to hooking up with you again and having you share some more information
Definitely.
with us.
I'm grateful. You're wonderful. Thank you so much for
Oh,
having me on.
Thank you. Love, hugs, and blessings.